What is your take on Stoicism? Can this be used as a good foundation for building on?
Yeah, well, I don't know that much about Stoicism, you know. I mean, I know that it's an ethic of endurance and willingness to bear responsibility and to make sacrifices. And I think part of the reason that there's been somewhat of a movement online in the Stoic direction and a resurgence of interest in Stoic philosophy is because it's pretty much exactly the opposite of every philosophy you ever hear about anywhere now. And so, you know, when we veer too far in one direction, those things we forgot start to glimmer in the darkness and they attract people. That's compensatory. So one of the things the psychoanalysts pointed out is that, you know, someone wrote me the other day, oh no, I answered this question online. He's a graduate student, and he said he was still having murderous fantasies about people who had humiliated him in high school. And he asked what he should do about that. And I said, well, you should write out what happened in detail, and you should write out your fantasies in detail, which is quite frightening. And then you should try to see if you can give the devil his due. Like, the fact that he's having murderous fantasies still means that there were lessons to be learned embedded in that humiliation that he has not yet integrated, and the fantasies are manifesting themselves as a sign of that. And if they're analyzed and then integrated, the problem would be solved. So in all likelihood, well, who knows, because I don't know, maybe he was smaller, maybe he wasn't as physically intimidating as he needed to be, maybe he was afraid, maybe he couldn't defend himself verbally, maybe he thought aggression was wrong, I don't know. Something led up to these sequence of humiliations, and if you're humiliated like that and despised and put down, well, then that's indicative of a flaw in your adaptive structure. I'm not trying to lay all the blame on the victim here, by the way, but you're not going to fix the bullies, so you can fix yourself, maybe. And the fantasies come up as a compensation, so they're very aggressive and violent. It's because he's way too peaceful and meek. And so you pull those together, and then you're a little meaner than you were, and a little more capable of saying no, and less likely to open yourself up to the first forays of bullying. So bullies in high schools, for example, they'll go pick on a variety of kids, right? Just a little prod, and some kids will react too much, and then all the bullies just zero in on that kid. Well, and then maybe the kid goes home and has fantasies about blowing up the school. Well, the Stoicism, it's a compensatory fantasy in some sense, you know, because everyone's concerned about rights and everyone's concerned about about being a victim and about being merciful and all of that, and that's not enough. So a compensation emerges and attracts people to it. And maybe that'll be helpful to people. So that's that.